Thank you for tuning in to another episode of InRange. I'm here today with a Galil ACE in 308, kindly loaned to us from Turtle Lake Tactical out of North Dakota. We've already done a mud test out of this. This gun was new out of the box when they sent it to us, and it went straight into the mud test. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. But I'd like to thank Turtle Lake Tactical for loaning us this gun and telling us to put it through hell, which is what we're intending to do. The ACE, or the Galil series of rifles from the Israeli military and now IWI, are of course AK derivatives. Standard 2-lug rotating bolt locking system, standard gas system, and at the heart and soul the ACE series is nothing more than an AK, but it is a greatly modified AK. The charging handle is on the left side. As with the Galil series and the 5.56, which we saw from the Israeli military incarnation, it has a safety on the right side of the pistol grip, which is really convenient for a right-handed shooter with a thumb. And it also does have a traditional safety on this side for anyone else, or if you have preference in that regard. It does have a folding stock. The gun can be fired with the stock folded. It does have adjustable length of pull. It does have a pick rail on a very tightly fitted upper cover here. In fact, you kind of need a mallet to put this back on, and I'll talk about that in another part of the video. Pick rail down the entire front of the gun. Rather large, maybe offensive muzzle brake, but not as bad as some as you might expect. It does have pick rails down here with really cleverly designed covers. Push this little button, slides off, bam, you have pick rail if you need it. Today we are not going to be using those, so we're putting the covers back on. I will say it is very comfortable to hold, actually. It does take SR25 pattern standard magazines, which of course now we're using these mag pools. This is a 20 rounder, straight in, just like in an AR or derivative of thereof, and they do drop free. And so, all that said, this should be a good performer on the clock in spite of being in 308. The two primary magazines I'm going to use today are 25 rounds of capacity, so I'm not going to really be behind the curve in terms of capacity against everyone else. I will be behind the curve in terms of recoil impulse. Additionally, you might notice I am using the Freedom RDS Black Ring Series Red Dot. That is not the topic of today's video. That is going to be a separate video. This is the final iteration of the Leupold Freedom RDS testing we're going through, and this is the hardened version. And I figured why not put it on a 308 rifle to put it through its paces. So let's see how this gun does on the clock, and let's find out if the Galil ACE in 308 is something that is worthwhile on the market today. Oh shit. Hit! Hit! So I just got done with the 150-yard engagement stage with the Galil ACE, also the first stage that I've shot the match at today with this gun. And I had really, at this point I'm going to go ahead and say this rifle performed admirably. Ergonomics are excellent. The charging handle being on the left is really a nice thing. This thumb activatable safety on the left side of the gun for my thumb being a right-handed shooter is superb. I would say that these handguards could be longer. They're very short, and if you want to put a bipod on here, you don't have much real estate left for your hand. I don't know if these are the length of the handguard protectors or something, or Picatinny rails from the Devore bullpups, but this seems short to me when it could be much longer, even out to here. And at that point, you'd have a lot more rail space and real estate to put a bipod. As it stands, putting a bipod on this is possible, but the reality is it really is in the way of your hand, so I went without a bipod. That's one thing I would improve, is increasing the length of the Picatinny rails and the handguards. The trigger is absolutely superb out of the box. It is light and crisp and does everything you'd want a good trigger to do. In fact, I would be willing to call this a match grade trigger right out of the box. Everything was accurate enough. I had no issues with accuracy, but I did have issues with the muzzle brake. This muzzle brake is, of course, great, but muzzle brakes in general are a problem in what I believe are the most practical shooting environments, which are the ones we try to emphasize here in two-gun. And what happens is you get this huge dust signature, and that dust signature can be so significant that you actually obscure the targets and have to move or like try to shoot around the dust to be able to see the target. And while you're waiting for that dust to clear, if there isn't any wind, which there isn't on this very hot, not windy day, that means that you're waiting for the dust to clear to even see just a shape or shadow of the target. At one point or another, I actually engaged and was able to hit the target, aiming at what looked to be like the visage of the target, but not actually being able to clearly see the target. All of that caused by the dust signature from the muzzle device. That, of course, in a tactical environment would be just as problematic, as a dust signature will absolutely give away your location very easily. But other than that, everything was great. Resting on the magazine was not a problem at all. I monopoded, and that was fine. The stock is comfortable, good cheek weld. This is comfortable. Trigger is superb. Safety is superb. Everything about the gun I liked, exception of the muzzle brake so far, and the handguards could be a little longer. Let's see what happens on the next stage. What? Oh, whoa. It happened. I'm out. Catastrophic failure to extract.
Ooh. Yeah.
We're going to have to try to beat that out of there. From the front, that's long enough. So, I'm going to open the action. There's no bolt hole to open, which is fun. Whoa, that is in there. It is out. What caused that level of failure to extract? I don't know. But we're going to try the stage one more time. So this is the shoot and scoot stage. All targets are mini IPSCs at 50 yards. You have to essentially sprint between two different positions and get one hit on each. The purpose of this is to test fast acquisition of the target and snatching, essentially grabbing and hitting that target as quickly as possible from multiple presentations. What happened was, on the very first run of this stage, I fired one round and had a catastrophic failure to extract. It literally tore the rim off the cartridge and required a cleaning rod to actually pull it out. And it didn't just drop out, I had to beat it against the wall to get it out. So that failure to extract was significant. I tried to clear it on the clock, and there was no way that the extractor was going to have sufficient purchase to pull that out. Now, to be honest, I'm using old 1970s Austrian Hurtenberg M80 surplus. It has run that so far flawlessly until now. That was the first major malfunction, but it was a major malfunction. There's not like gas settings to adjust on this gun or anything like that, so it either works or it doesn't. And so far, the Hurtenberg's been fine up until now. I cleared it and then was able to reshoot the stages. When something is a catastrophic, unclearable malfunction, will frequently let you do that. And then I did fine. The safety is absolutely ergonomically perfect. It's easy to engage and disengage while moving. I was turning the safety on and off as I was moving between positions, which was no problem at all. The trigger is, again, excellent. The recoil impulses are excellent. And when you're not in the dirt, the muzzle brake is actually quite effective. So, except for that significant FTE, the gun's been doing really well. And that was the final stage of the match. I had the dot turned down, so I had a nicer, crisper reticle. This is one in which if you made too many misses, you were going to have severe penalties. This was also a stage that would test some parallax, where you're kind of like shooting at weird angles, but that's an optics thing more than a gun thing. With the exception of that one very strange, catastrophic failure to extract that I had on the second stage of the day, which I don't understand because I haven't had that with any other ammunition out of this gun ever. The gun has run admirably. In fact, I would go ahead and say that if you're in the market for 308, and this kind of thing is what, spins your wheels, the Galil 308 ACE is not a bad choice. It is not my first choice when you compare it to things like the POF Revolution, the DI gun, or some of the others that are out there. Those are, I would say, a better performing gun. But the reality is, this thing has a great trigger. It does have standard SR25 magazine capabilities, but it does have some deficiencies. It's kind of heavy. It's got a short handguard. This muzzle brake is still a problem in the dirt. And the disassembly is problematic because when you need to put this railed cover back on, even though it does retain zero through some brutal situations in which I even dropped this intentionally for a different review and it retains zero, when you take this off, I have found that you have to beat it back on with a rubber mallet. So there is no way to take this off with any sort of expediency and get it back on. Maybe yours is different and your mileage may vary, but those are weird give and takes that you make when you design an AK and try to modernize an AK for the modern world and include a Picatinny rail on what was originally nothing more than a dust cover that was not designed to retain zero. That said, the gun has retained zero, the gun is handled admirably, the recoil is mild, the trigger is excellent, it is more than sufficiently accurate. So at this point I will give the Galil ACE a pretty good thumbs up, and I want to thank Turtle Lake Tactical out of North Dakota for providing this to InRange for us to put it through its paces and to abuse it as he said we should, and we have. And if you guys like this, please consider supporting us on Patreon. All of the 308 ammunition, including the one that I had to beat out of this with a cleaning rod, came from you, the viewer. You support this channel wholly. There are no sponsors, no masters, no overlords. Strictly viewer support. It allows us to do truly honest reviews and other things as well. If you can't, we understand. Please subscribe to one of our multiple distribution points. You can find them all at InRange.tv. Share with your friends, and thanks for watching.